Welcome to the Entrepreneurship podcast with X.T.C. I'm Shalonda.
I'm Tristan.
And I'm Chris.
As an entrepreneur starting or growing your business, you may have a destination, but the journey getting there can be a trip. We want to be your travel companions and inject a dose of X.T.C as we explore real-life conversations about navigating the world of entrepreneurship in the U.S. and the Caribbean. Come take this trip with us. Good day, entrepreneur trippers. Oh my God, I am so excited because we have such an amazing show planned. We have our one and only Crucian Empress in pharmaceuticals from the beautiful island of St. Croix joining us, Kisha Christian Pharm.D. Hi.
She talking like from the west side.
I know, right? I'm super excited. I'm like ready to bust out of my skin. And plus, I got my fellow trippers, Tristan and Chris, with us. We're going to get a deep dive into this conversation about entrepreneurship. Being a marathon, folks, this is something you got to be at every day, steady, like the little hair. It is not a sprint. But before we get started, let's just give you a little bit of a sneak peek about Kisha. She's an experienced owner with a demonstrated history of working in pharmacy industry. She's skilled in medication administration, healthcare, clinical pharmacology, you're tripping me up here, public speaking and leadership. Strong healthcare services professional with a doctor of pharmacy focused in pharmacy from the University of Georgia. And we just know her as Kisha that has this amazing pharmacy down on the west side of the island, doing great things for the community, So we were talking before we started the show. I remember before I left the island, Kisha was looking for her location. She was working on her business plan. She was working on the CON. It was just a little in her mind. And now I come back on the island and she has a booming pharmacy with all these pharmacists and staff and doing great things in the community. So I want to hear all about it. How has it been for you?
Some days are good. Some days I sit in a corner and cry. There are more good days than bad days. But I wouldn't change. Like if I had to do it all over again, I would do it all over again the same exactly.
Very cool. So
go ahead.
Yeah. So what was the catalyst what was the reason behind you deciding to venture out on your own?
So I lived in Georgia. I worked for Target for like 16 years. And if you had asked me, I've been here now like 10 years. So let's say 15 years ago, if I would come at home, my answer would be like, no, they ain't got no 15 on there. What are you going to do down there? So all the young people say now. But in my mind, I thought I would have moved up Target's corporate ladder. But every time I went for the interviews or for the promotions, it was always like a knockdown. It's either the first thing they said is I say like too much. You know how we like, okay, work on that. Then it was something else. Then there was one time when I didn't get the promotion, somebody else got the promotion, and they asked me to train the person.
Oh no.
Let me tell you, I went home and cried so much. I was like, I don't want to work for this place anymore. Went through the whole emotional thing. And then that night, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm going back home. And then what happened that same year is we had a winter storm. It was like an ice storm. And they were like, if you don't come to work, you're going to get written up. And I was like, I have kids at home looking for me. It was terrible. I thought I died like 3 times on a highway getting to these people's job. Wow. So I was like, I'm done. So when I finished crying, I put pen to paper and I was like, I think it was like in a year I had put, that was like 2019, 2009, so maybe 2010. I was like, I'm not going to be here for another year. And that summer, I sent the kids home to my mom, and that August, I was in St. Croix. Then I worked for two other pharmacies, but I just felt like they were more interested in like numbers and like all the ideas I had about like community or bringing things that I had learned in the States home. They weren't interested. And then one night I was like, I can't do this. I can do this for myself. I was like, I can't do this for these people. I'm making all these people rich. I can do this for myself. So again, like I put pen to paper, and that might have been maybe like 2011, 2012. And in 2015, I went through the looking to find a place for the pharmacy because I had a vision of what I wanted the pharmacy to look like. I wanted it to look like something like you walk into in the States. So I had to like find the right place. And it just so happened that the lady, Miss Carmen, that was helping me at SBA, she's like, I know a perfect place for you. So she saw it, I fell in love with it. Thankfully, like the owners of the building, like I worked on like from opening, it took me like a year to get everything. Held the space for me for that entire year.
Wow.
So now what I tell people is like looking back, like in, they say hindsight is 2020. Like I felt like God didn't give me those target opportunities because I didn't belong there.
Yep.
And he had other things for me
So,
planned. I just didn't know it at the time.
right, so that's crazy to me because when I was hearing about it, right, Kisha, I keep hearing it with like it came to me as if like this was your dream. I first heard about I guess the pharmacy idea, but I had to been about maybe 14. I think about 14, 15. And I was like, yeah, this new person and we opening up this pharmacy and they were coming home and this is what it is they came home to do. So it's almost like taking your finish line aspect and not really getting the whole story because we don't make it seem as if it's always like a hero syndrome. Oh, the person wanted to do this from the beginning. Oh, this was the plan. But I think it's good to hear and it's crazy to hear at the same time that this wasn't the end goal. You know
It
what I
wasn't
mean?
my plan. This was his plan. This was not my
Right.
plan. And I just feel like I kept putting myself in situations and, God was like, no, that's not what I want. Your head had? Jesus, your
Right.
head. No, I said no. I don't want it. I said no.
It's interesting that you say that because I think sometimes out of fear that this idea is so big that we go with what we know we can do. We know what is maybe a little bit within our comfort zone. So we keep going after those areas that, okay, I know I'm going to be good at this. I know I can do this. And the ones that are bigger than what we think sometimes scares us, right? And it just speaks to how the universe, God, circumstances, whatever your beliefs are, continue to redirect you onto your life purpose. Because now, I mean, you look at the pharmacy now. I went in there the other day and I was like, oh my God. I felt like a proud sister bear because I was like, this is what she has been working on for so long. And look at this, and you walk in and it is like someplace you would see in the States and the staff is amazing. So it's nice to see that even though it was something that you were initially resisting, that you accepted that, okay, I have a bigger purpose and let me just step into my awesomeness and unleash my power. Right?
There is no way. Like when we first opened, it was 1,500 square feet, and I just thought, I was like, what the heck I can do with this big space? So then I get in there, and I was like, wait, I need more space.
More space.
So then, and like I said, like things happen. Like I gotta tell people, like everything happens for a reason. Like I am a true believer of that. So when I needed the next space, like the person that rented next to me ended up moving away. So I got that space. Then I got into that space, and then I'm like, still need more space.
Yeah.
Like if you had asked even when I opened, like if I would be so busy, I would have said no. This is not anything I had ever
Mm-hmm.
imagined would have happened. And then again, like with the juice bars, they were like, "Oh, we just want to let you know that there a space is becoming available, another space." I was like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do in there, but yeah, I want it."
That's pretty cool.
And there went the juice bar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, a couple series ago, we had an episode basically asking our entrepreneurs born or made. And it's kind of interesting that like your circumstances of being redirected by a higher power, what have you, to open up a business. My journey to becoming an entrepreneur was somewhat similar in that I was at a nonprofit where I had basically almost a guarantee to get a promotion on the next year. So I did everything working towards that, and then my annual review came around, put everything in there to, show how I not only met but exceeded those expectations. And they were like, "We still don't think you're ready." And I was like, "So what do I have to do to change?" And they're like, "We want you to take more people out to lunch." And like they were just grabbing at straws.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I was Hurricane Maria had happened. I wanted to do a documentary on that, so I kind of jumped out into that. But and then another side of the entrepreneurship. So we were saying, how circumstances can push you into it, but then with the juice bar, how a space was available. So another way is when opportunity presents itself, and you're like, well, do I take it or not? And so it's kind of cool that you sort of have kind of both ways or two different ways of how you entered different ventures. So kind of interesting there.
And
Mm-hmm.
Chris, it goes a little further because when we really look at the situation, it even goes back past that discussion in the earlier series when we talk about being the change that we want to see. So here we have
Mm-hmm.
Kisha. She came back home. She's working with these different pharmacies. However, like that's not the change that she wanted to see. Like there
To
was
see.
something more.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't just become an entrepreneur just because you put the pen to paper.
Yep.
We first realize, well, you know what? I've been doing this. I might be good at this, but there's something more that I feel that we can do. There's something more that I want. And then when you realize that where it is that you are gives you a cap, then we're like, you know what? We're just going to step outside real quick. There's a different ceiling outside,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what it is that I wanted. So what the hell? I could give it a try. And that's just it. So it's being the change that you want to see, um, timing and opportunity. It's just everything that we've been speaking about so far. Um, that's coming together that shows you there's nothing, I don't want to say special about an entrepreneur. There's nothing different about our journeys. Anybody could be an entrepreneur. Keisha spoke about her. I don't even want to call it like a burnout. Well, let's look at the fact that the snowstorm, these different challenges, it's not easy. We all encounter that those trials, those tribulations, in which we just have to make that determination that we are gonna move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Keisha knows like my bigger brother. I call him my bigger brother, and how we started our like businesses is just crazy, crazy different. Even now, I don't think he has all his screws. There's no way he could have all his screws. I'm gonna bring it up. Keisha, the other night I was at a restaurant. I got a phone call. It was like, meet me at a restaurant. What I need is an XLR cable, shoestring, and something else. And I was
He sounds like
literally at a
MacGyver.
restaurant with shoestring,
But he
XLR
showed up.
cables.
He
Everybody's
showed
there
up.
like, yo, you're shooting a video? Like, what are you doing? Nah, I don't even know. I was told to just bring this, and I'm here and I'm waiting. And that's the beauty of it. And that's the beauty of us collaboratively as entrepreneurs is that we reach out and we help each other. We go the distance for each other. Kisha, could you tell us a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about like the support that you had?
And so I've always had like great
Mm-hmm.
support from my family and my friends. Even when we got when I got the space and we were ready. So the space was a church before. So they had like walls and stuff. I was like, look, I ain't got a loan yet, and I can't afford to do like. So we had like a demolition party, had a
The
flyer and
party.
everything, great food. Yes, all my friends came by. And everybody started just breaking down walls. Like they all showed up, and like I still have pictures, and I share it every year because we're all in like holding like chisel things in our hands. But even like the four girlfriends that I have here on St. Croix, like they were all there and they were all like sleeves up, let's do this.
Mhm.
So even like now, like I feel like I thank the community because without them, neighborhood pharmacy wouldn't be as successful as it is.
Mm.
So you know, just the support from them, the support from friends, it's just amazing.
And Keisha, I'm sure that support from friends plays into this, but one of the things we are talking about in this series is how to manage entrepreneurial burnout. So I'd be interested with having your pharmacy and expansion, and then opening the juice bar and everything. How do you manage all of that and keep your screws intact?
Traveling is my getaway.
Here you go.
Um, so I travel a lot, and it's just my time. Even when I travel, you know, yeah, I do some work, and I'm always accessible, but it just gives me the time to get my screws back screwed in tight. um, and then before COVID, I used to go out a lot with and just have dinner with friends that are also entrepreneurs, talk about, you know, what we're going through. We haven't done that lately, but since COVID is trying to
Yeah.
give us a chance to be outside, I would like to start that back again because it's really good to hear from other entrepreneurs. There's a lot of ideas that I get from them, or we share ideas or share how they cope with stuff every day. I do have one friend though, Attorney Walker. So we always call each other, girl, let me tell you what happened today because. And she's like, wait, I'm going through the same thing too. So we share a lot of our.
It's funny that you bring up Attorney Walker because she's who I call also, right? Because we're related, we're family. And talking about that support system, what I find interesting is that when I was in Orlando, and I decided to start this journey of the Sky group, my network of friends were all entrepreneurs. So as I'm talking to them about what I'm thinking about doing, and that fear creeps in, like, can I really do this? Is this really gonna work?
And they're like,
You know,
go
you have
for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're like, go for it, because a lot of the time I think it's one thing to have a theoretical understanding of being an entrepreneur. It's a completely different thing of actually walking the path of an entrepreneur. And I think a lot of it has to do with, yeah, you're creating a business or you're bringing an idea to a market, right, with hopes that it's going to be profitable and make a meaningful impact. But a lot of that starts with a lot of that internal, personal reflection, excavation, confronting your fears. It becomes a very emotional process, right?
And I remember like when I first started and I left the pharmacy, I used to pep talk. I used to give myself like, girl, you could do this. You and you are. I'd be all up in
Yeah.
the mirror like but and then like even because I was going through a separation and a divorce. I had three small kids. So I'm like, and I trying to business. I'm like, girl, you crazy. So even like the beginning times, like when we first opened, I sat many times in this farm on the pharmacy floor and like, girl, what you done get yourself into? And then I'm
Yeah,
like, you done deep in this anyway. Ain't no turning back now.
I know.
So I used to have a lot of like internal conversations, a bunch of insecurities. It went from like insecurity to me like being like, you could do this. Come on, you could do this. Get
Right.
your team up off of this floor. So and what I tell like entrepreneurs or whatever business you plan to get into, make sure it's something that you love to do. Um, you know, because the minute you meet like a hiccup or a mountain that you gotta climb, you're gonna give up. So it has to be something that you love doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Keisha, Shalana, Chris, let's try something like this. Keisha just call it a mountain. I have no problems with the mountains. The mountains we see, we know we want to get over. Boom. However, for some strange reason, is always the pebble. Is always the pebble. Is what to trip you up. Like we just don't start breaking down because we're like, man, we want to do the entrepreneurs trip. We're gonna do this in about 2 months. Shit, wasn't even 2 months. I think we're like in a month we were already meeting. We already built something. We already hitting milestones. So I don't know months. It goes November, December, right? November, December, January.
Mhm.
Yep.
Spoke to Shalana in October. November we planned. December we were here. January, I think we're already recording. By
Mhm.
mid-January, there's a website. Like, and when we look at it, those were the mountains that we said that we were gonna pass. But they were never the mountain. They were like, I got a website. I can't put a period at the end of Kisha name. And I just been working on this thing for like this long, and I can't believe this period just won't go
That's
where it's
true.
supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? So like,
Or the
and then
formatting was
Right.
the we're not the formatting was nuts. It was crazy. It was like I have the name. Look, if y'all ever look at the website and y'all look for where it is now and where it was, we had words over like certain images.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah.
we set goals. We followed through with our goals. You know, we conquered the mountain. You reach the top of the mountain and then you were like, how I rolled my ankle right here. Right to the top and I could see the view and it's like,
Mhm.
well, how I roll the ankle. And when you roll the ankle to me, like it just starts to trickle down. So any of y'all, anybody, just tell us about what it's like when we I don't want to say when we feel like we on top and nobody else could tell us anything different because everybody only sees the success is great, but nobody sees the fact that you wanted a pharmacy and maybe, just maybe, you wanted to do deliveries. And by the time you try to get his van, they're telling you we ain't gonna have no vans in stock until next year.
Hmm.
Tell us about how that little pebble that just trip us up.
I don't cry. Me ain't gonna lie. And
Oh, we all cried.
after I cry, I feel good. I am not the person that'll be like, be strong, don't cry. Mm-mm. I will go in that bathroom and I will cry my people tears out. But when I come out of
Uh,
the bathroom, I'm ready to conquer whatever it is.
Mm.
That's how I deal with mine. But you were talking about the van, and actually, we bought a van last year, January. We're about to send it to go get wrapped. And February, it got hit by a drunk driver.
Oh my gosh.
oh my
After, and this
goodness.
was like, it's hard to
Wow.
find like vehicles and vans now, right? So I found this van, bought it here on island, didn't have to do all of that, and then that happened. So I completely get the pebble. I'm like, I went through all of this to get this van,
Yes.
and this now I have to start all
Mhm.
over again. But you find, you find ways to get around it. And
Mhm.
like I said, if it's something that you love to do and you really, really want to do it, you're gonna figure it out.
Mhm.
True.
I think that
True.
passion for what it is that you're doing is so important. That's what rides you through the high points, but it sustains you through the low points. And I think another thing is that you talk about conquering the milestones and conquering the pebbles. In the very beginning of entrepreneurship, the idea is so enticing, right? The idea is so toxic that you're like on this high, like I'm going to do this, right? And it's almost like running that marathon where you start the marathon and you're excited and you keep going and then you get to mile 2 and you're like, okay, my legs are starting to hurt.
I'm
Right?
gonna walk.
And you're like, okay, but I go keep this going. I could keep going. And then you go to like mile 4 and you're like, okay, I can't feel no part of my extremities. I am out of breath. I feel like I'm about to die. Like, what the hell do I do? Do I stop? but I already passed 4 miles. So I only got 1 more mile to go. So I just keep putting one foot in front of the next and trying to keep it together as I try to figure out how I'm going to get across this finish line. The thing is that in entrepreneurship, when you start a business, there are milestones, but what is the finish line, right? Some people go into business to build a legacy. And I think that's what I hear from you, Kisha, a legacy for your community, a legacy for your daughters, a legacy for your family. And that's one of the reasons I think as island Caribbean people, when we go away and then we say, we're doing all of this amazing stuff in these communities that we're living in and we're serving and we're making an impact with people, but why I can't make the same impact or better for my
Right.
people?
Mhm.
So then we come
That's
home.
exactly how I felt.
Yeah. So then we come home. It's like I can put all of my passion and my skills and benefits to help my people. And then you have the milestones and you have the pebbles and you have the, all of that stuff. But you have to be able to continuously sustain yourself. And having that network of people around you is very,
There
very
you go.
helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. It's extremely helpful because when we say that we can't, they say we can. When
Mm-hmm.
we don't see those little glimmer of hope, they're like, wait, but you've been doing this all this time. You
Mm-hmm.
want to know if I'm that's only counting pills, man. That's all you gotta do. Just count pills. You're like, they simplify my job to that. Well, let me keep counting. Let me start doing something else. You know what? I could get an next counter with me. Then they'll be like, I know somebody else that could get a counter. We could do
Mm-hmm.
these different things, but this network of entrepreneurs that either you meet along the way, um, some of them that might be on that journey with you. This is what we need. We need these spaces where we could talk about real shit, like
Yep.
how it'll hit the fan, like how we'd cry, like the other day. I thought we almost had like it'll be like these little nervous breakdowns, and like you say, you cry, you get it out, and then you know what the funny thing with looking back is, when you look back, you realize how far you've gone. Like at this point in
Mm-hmm.
time, if I walk 4 hours, that means I got to walk 4 miles back.
Yep.
And I'm only going 10 miles anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So I keep it moving.
yeah, yeah, you just
And
you gotta
it's
keep it
funny,
trucking.
and it's funny you said that because
And
now that I look back, I'm like, girl, you used to work 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts. How the heck did you survive that for a whole 2 years by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And then I look back and I used to have just 4 employees. Now I have 30 employees. Like, how?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think
And then Jolanda said about like where the finish
that's
line
what I
is.
think.
Like, I don't see a finish line because there's
Mm-hmm.
for me there's always something for me to work on in healthcare. Like, how do I get like for the last couple of years I've been working on getting MAP to cover breast pumps, and it's 3 years in. I finally got it okay, so I'm like, oh yes. So it's just like, I have a whole list of things that I want to accomplish, and I don't have a timeline for them because I know it's we don't move as quickly
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
as others or things I may like. So I'll try and then I'll put it aside, work on something else, put it aside, and I just move. It's gonna happen when it's supposed to happen.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
Was a
interesting you
finish
say
line
that because
even
we
a
were
real
talking about that
thing though?
earlier.
Huh?
What was that,
I was
Tristan?
sorry, I was saying, is a finish line even a real thing though? Because no matter what, we always find something else to kind of do.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
when, like to me, when I think about it, my finish line would be me saying like, when is it that I want to stop shooting videos? Like I don't feel like I want to stop. I kind of way like when you're an entrepreneur, I don't feel like there's a real finish line because we always just find out something else. Oh Tristan, you're blind and you can't see, and I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I could teach editing. We're gonna do audio editing this time. We're gonna do.
And
You
you
see
know
what I'm
why
saying? As an
that is?
entrepreneur, I find
That's because
no.
you love what you're
Why is
doing.
that? You're gonna write me a prescription
Mm-hmm.
for that?
Because you love what
Hmm?
you're doing.
Yeah.
And you love shooting videos, you love
Yep.
videography, you love all of that. So that's why there's no finish line.
I'll actually put a sports reference in here, but so I kind of attribute it to like so let's say like playing baseball. If you the goal of any like kid growing up who plays baseball is to play in the major leagues and win a World Series, but a lot of people accomplish that, and then what? What else is there to accomplish? But if you
Right.
love the game, you're going to go out and practice every day. And I think
Coach.
the biggest thing of the pebbles is in entrepreneurship you can have the business plan and the processes to mitigate pebbles, but the biggest variable is always life. And I've heard that life is the thing that happens when you're busy making plans for it. Uh, so and Shalonda mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I'm the Zen Buddhist or what have you. So I've learned that I used to want to stop the curveballs from coming at me. I just wanted, can I just have a nice pitch down the center that I can swing at and hit out of the park? But that's not how life is, and you can't stop the pitches coming at you. So you're always going to get curveballs. So you have to put yourself in the position of the batter, and if you just enjoy the game, you may take some strikes, you may take some balls, you may get hit every now and then, a ball to the head. But you're going to knock some out of the park. Some might be, singles, doubles, triples, what have you. But you can, if you just look at it as the game, and if you enjoy going out and playing, you'll get out there at the batting practice every day. And to Kisha's point, there is no finish line, because the finish line is to go out and enjoy yourself, and just to be in that moment, as opposed to looking for some kind of accolade or award at the end of the day.
And then,
That's why
like,
nobody speaks after Chris. I'm gone. I'm just walking out. Oh wait, you weren't finished. You weren't finished.
Kisha was going for it. She was going for it.
Yes. Go, Keisha. You got this, girl.
unless we go into like a meditation session,
Yeah, we can.
but what I was gonna say is, even as entrepreneurs, like your role changes. Like in the beginning, I worked in the business, like I was that pharmacist, I was that, and now I'm more working on the business. And for me, like I love both sides, but I love this side more because I can inspire others. I can coach my team into things that they want to do, or help them with, ideas, or maybe businesses that they want to start, or whatever they want in their personal lives and their professional lives. So, our roles, we have many roles.
Yes.
Now we do. So what were some of your inspirations?
My my parents, my kids, and when I was younger, my cousin's dad was a pharmacist. I clearly remember this for some reason, but his pharmacy was in St. Thomas. I remember going in there and seeing like this person that looked like me, that's from home, like owning a pharmacy. Still never had like any thoughts of becoming a pharmacist then, but I was like, oh wow, he owns it here. And it was so funny when I first opened, it had a dance studio next to um here to the pharmacy, and a little girl came in and she was like, they said you own it here. And I was like, yes, I'm the owner. She was like, wow. And in my mind, I was like, I hope I inspire her to do something great when she grows up.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Represent.
It's interesting that you share that story, because I know, like, I have these conversation with my African American friends, right? And trying to get them to understand, growing up in the Caribbean, seeing people in power, making meaningful change that look like me, that are of me, of my ancestry, right? I don't have the issue of representation that a lot of my African American friends who are just now really getting to see that representation in the current form. It's almost like being in the Caribbean, or being from a small community that is predominantly majority. We tend to take that for granted, right? That, oh, that person like me is doing something that I could aspire to do, or they
Right.
serve as an inspiration for me to be able to also dream big. So I love that story of the little girl,
And
because
even
we,
now, like when I go speak to like students and stuff, like I tell them like we may have to work harder to get there, but we can get there. Like there
Yeah.
is nothing that is stopping us. We may not have like the money to be able to start it right away, but chip at it and you'll get there.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Slow and steady.
And there are
It's a race.
That's what I say.
and
What you say? Pace yourself. The marathon pace.
Yep. Yep. Just remember to breathe. Remember
exactly.
to breathe.
And stop there.
I see the plugs there. I like it, guys. The SEO, right?
Yeah. Were you gonna say something, Chris? I thought you were gonna drop some nuggets of wisdom.
I lost my
thought
train
he
of
was
thought.
too.
Oh, we messed them up,
thought he was
Tristan.
gonna
I know the pebble. You tripped me up
They're
here.
plugging in the words.
Guys throwing pebbles out.
Oh no. Oh, Chris, I got the text. What you say? That's why the windshield is bigger than your rear view, so in that way you could always look forward and you realize there's nothing much you're leaving behind you. Is that where it was going?
Yes, my young Padawan, you're doing well. Just kidding. Young grasshopper.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I was like, okay, grasshopper.
But yeah, no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
This is awesome.
crazy. So
So Kisha,
I don't know what we're about to do.
You know what we're about to do? I haven't even said anything yet.
Go.
Okay.
No,
No, I
go
was gonna
ahead. Go
ask
ahead. Go
you.
ahead.
I can keep
Huh?
talking. I can keep talking.
The brother and sister are fighting here.
I know, right? It's always me and Tristan, poor Chris always gets caught in the middle. No, I was gonna ask Kisha, any like we always say dropping nuggets, golden nuggets, right? Any golden nuggets that you can leave with our audience. So once they listen to this podcast, they can ponder and say, wow, okay, how can I use that to improve myself as a person, improve myself as an entrepreneur, and improve my business? You have any words of wisdom you'd like to drop to our audience?
So I always use the hashtag be good humans. So like I tell my staff when I hire them, and that's probably one thing like I always strive for service, especially in a pharmacy. Because what I tell them is you don't know what that person has been through. They could have just came from the doctor's office and got diagnosed with some life-threatening thing, and they're grumpy, they're sad, they're mad, they want a medicine, they want to go home. I put them in a scenario where you've been sick, I've been sick. I know when I'm sick, I don't want to do nothing. Don't talk to me, don't tell me nothing. Just give me my medicine so I can go home and sleep and feel better. So that's like when I'm interviewing them, like I tell them that. I was like, it's nothing personal. If they come in here and they're grumpy and they have an attitude, it's nothing personal with you. You don't know what they're going through. So just keep that in mind and be good humans.
I love that.
Well, awesome, Kisha. I think that's great advice of just be a good human. I think that's something we can all learn from here. And I just want to thank you for being a guest on our podcast, The Entrepreneur's Trip with X.T.
Tristan.
Come on, Tristan.
And C, Chris here, and we just want to thank you all. Join us on the trip. Entrepreneurs, we can't all do this alone. As Kisha mentioned here, it takes a support system and having those people around you to keep carrying you when you do trip over those pebbles. So don't trip, keep going. The only way you're going to trip on a pebble is if you're moving. So keep moving, and you'll get there. So we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much. And again, thank you, Kisha, for joining us here.
Thank you, Kisha.
We'll have to have you back
Thank
someday.
you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right. See you next week.
Thank you for taking this trip with us. We hope you had a great time. Join us every Tuesday for another dose of X.T.C. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and visit us at theentrepreneurs.com for more entrepreneurship tips and trips. See you next time.